Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Crone. I'm here with Design for Learning for part of our AI Basics for Leaders Toolkit. This is our third session of 4 titled Ensuring Success of AI in Schools and in Classrooms. This is a series for leaders, whether you're a principal, school district leader, coach, leader of your classroom, leader of your department. This is really about us understanding AI, the basics, understanding the concerns and challenges, and now this session is about ensuring success with AI. How we define success is critical. It's not just about the safety and the privacy, while those are important. It's also about the results and the impact. And success for us, if we're going to look at an educational standpoint, is ensuring we get the level of performance that we want or the level of effectiveness that we want. We're going to go through our slide presentations here today. There's a moment to pause as a participant, and we'll go forward. Mentioned before, my name is Ryan Crone. I'm a superintendent in the great state of Wisconsin, a design consultant, and a learner. Excited to be here today. These are the 4-part series. Again, we're on part 3 with this session today, ensuring success and looking at ways that teachers can use AI. We're going to just quickly go through our presentation today with just a quick AI reminder, need to know, just so we get grounded in what AI is. Again, AI, we're going to look at 3 things today for success: the personalized nature of this, the efficiency nature, and the engagement nature. Then we're going to define success from each of those lenses in terms of looking at how we can be efficient at being effective, and last but not least, getting started and getting better. That term, efficient at being effective, it's a term that I use professionally and personally. A number of years ago, I set that as one of my New Year's resolutions. Was my goal is to be efficient at being effective, not the other way around. The other way around was just effective at being efficient. But I really wanted to be efficient at being effective. When we look at success for AI, these tools can offer a variety of efficiencies for us. The goal is, though, is to what we gain in the efficiency is to make sure that we get the results with effectiveness, or to free us up to do the most effective leadership skills, the most effective instructional strategies, and have the most effective impact in our system. So excited for that. And again, I mentioned before, we'll end with getting started and getting better. That's just when you leave a presentation, to make sure that you know how to get started and have the ability to take one step at a time. So it's simple enough to get started tomorrow, but the work over time will become systemic. Again, AI as an intro 101. I think in terms of education, it allows us for a greater opportunity to personalize experiences, to provide better data analysis or responsiveness, more efficiency just in our work or our tasks, our day-to-day work. And then again, some enhanced educational experiences where things maybe we've never been able to do before, we now can do, or experiences we can provide for students. The cons is always pros and cons, or what I call benefits and barriers. Some of the barriers we need to really be mindful of, again, are the privacy and safety, the equity issues, ethical issues, and training. We covered these our last session, but just a reminder of these. We always want to have these in the forefront of our mind to make sure that what it is we're about to do is always grounded with safety for students. So here we go today, just for AI for leaders, ensuring success. 3 ways teachers, so we're thinking from a leadership lens for what our educators doing this with kids. 3 ways teachers can use AI to save time, be more productive, and spark engagement, etc. So these are the 3 we're going to focus on today, because there's hundreds and hundreds of ways. But one is about just personalized and impactful. In a previous role, I was the director of the Institute for Personalized Learning, and our goal really simply at that time was to understand, get to know the learners better, get to know their data better, and get to be as customized of an experience as we can. So we'll dig into that. Also going to look at, again, being more efficient at being effective. And last but not least, we're going to talk about enhanced engagement and the role of the learner, which means we're going to have to change the role of the educator. And last but not least, we'll ground this in some safe parameters for what we call freedom within fences, to make sure that we have some guardrails up for when we start to move forward. I start with our intro, just a reminder of the internet. The internet came in as this big thing, a lot of debate. We've had over 30 years to help the internet become a part of our schools, for students to be able to get all the way now that most schools have a one-to-one device for students, where they've just become comfortable with using this tool and what the uses are for. And all along the line, school policies and classroom is really up to the educator to design how the use of the internet over the last couple of years would enhance the learning experience. And it's going to be the same for AI. While the AI has much, much more capabilities than just a passive internet experience, we're excited about this. And I just do this as a reminder that this is not going to go away. We're going to be in this journey for the next 30 years. It's not going to be we're done with AI training. It's really going to be let's walk into this and understand which tools work and how we match them to our needs. AI for leaders, or AI for teachers. Here we go for leaders. These are the 3 things for personalized learning. I mentioned a little bit of my background in this work, but really personalized learning is really about creating an adaptive learning platforms and data-driven insights and some immediate feedback. What I mean by that is when we get to understand who our students are, it allows us to have a better chance to do adaptive learning platforms. And we've seen with AI, we can get into understanding our students better in terms of their profile, using data to create flexible grouping experiences or just see some trends, and also to be able to put ourselves in a position for some immediate feedback. Just to hone in on one of these pieces, one of the things that we want to look at is just how immediate feedback can really provide instant feedback on assignments and quizzes. This feedback helps students understand their mistakes and make the adjustments. One thing AI-driven feedback can do is do the same. So this is where we get into one of those crux of, yes, it can be efficient and students can get some of the feedback that they want, but at the same time, one of the things that we're going to have to really recognize is that we don't want to take our role as an educator in terms of the relationship and the connection to students. So what you want to do is find a balance in this example of how this tool can allow students to become better at assessing their own work, self-reflecting, getting the feedback and putting a plan together for what they're going to do now with some of their research. So if a student is getting a lot of feedback on maybe a writing piece and they're really talking about maybe a sentence structure for a 5th grader or an 8th grader, and that's great feedback. What you want students to do is be able to articulate that feedback, maybe set a goal, figure out how they can learn more about it, and find their new indicators of success. And the teacher can be sort of an academic success coach as a part of that. So the idea there in all of this piece for this first part is to really recognize the efficiency that can come in changing the role of the learner to become more of a self-assessor or reflector or goal setter, and then allow the teacher, instead of doing all of that piece, to come in and verify those skills or those 21st century skills that students are doing. So again, I bring that back to use this efficiency to allow us to have greater effectiveness. We're going to keep going here with the next section. This one, AI, just efficiency. Automated tasks for teachers, resource allocations, and communications with parents. Our teachers are always trying to find the best time to cram in that next communication, that next chance to get some work done. These examples of just things is a lot, automated tasks such as grading, attendance, and data entry. When it saves time, here's the best part, it allows them to focus more on impactful aspects of their work, such as lesson planning, connecting, and instruction. This is a really important piece as a leader to know. When we define ensuring success, again, while we want the safety side of things, we also want the effectiveness side. If we can really allow people to use these tools, not just to be efficient, but to be effective, we're going to save time so we can do our most impactful work. And if you look at Hattie's work and others' work around the world, when we get into the role of teacher effectiveness, it's really about them understanding students and communicating and giving feedback and really designing quality assessments and learning experiences. But again, resource allocation, just sort of finding some of the best things out there, no longer, and as well as communicating with parents, just putting together some streamlined interaction and really allowing it for some more automated pieces that would be regular, which might free up time to then have those one-to-one conversations with parents. Last piece on here is just, again, for enhanced classroom engagement. I love this piece. This is the piece where AI is going to make this fun. Some of these virtual tools and assistance, gamification, I'm going to hone in on that one here in a second, and natural language progression. So each of these pieces have their own description. You're going to see all the things that AI can do. What you want to do is match the AI tool with your need. Gamification is an area to continue to look at, but AI can use to create gamified educational content that makes learning more engaging and enjoyable. It creates elements such as rewards and leaderboards and challenges that motivate students. We've all heard of different tools for quizzes and things like that. This just takes it to the next level. Learning some of these pieces is really going to take your classroom and spark that level of not only engagement, but I think empowerment. When students start to get the work into their hand, they really get a chance to understand some of the work that we're doing. And what some of the learning that they're doing and the role that they should be in. Just again, defining success for AI. Remember this journey, I mentioned the internet earlier, this journey with AI is gonna be like cell phones. I love this visual, I use it all the time, because at first, the first tool that the cell phone did was just sort of allowed you to make a call from somewhere else, where eventually more and more apps and more features came in and more connectedness. We always were matching the need for photos, the need for GPS, the need for a phone, a need for a text, the need for a latest sports score onto our app right now. It's gonna be the same with AI in schools. We're gonna find the tools that are being created and how we match that with our need for helping students understand our latest math standards, or to be able to enhance an experience in the science classroom. I just mentioned about gamify a situation that has normally been something that's more of a drag for students to have, that turns into a challenge and a leaderboard and high engagement. So some real fun there for teachers. Again, as a leader, Defining success. I'm gonna slow this down for a second, because while we can focus on the last section on when we did concerns and challenges with AI, I want to focus in on what success really is going to be within the world of AI. And it's really similar to any time a calculator was brought into the school or others, to be really mindful of what role we want students to be in. Again, our role as leaders is, I think, is to continue to be efficient at being effective, and where we can hone in on these tools to allow us to do our best work. So if it allows me to automate some communication models, but it frees me up to be able to work face-to-face with groups and teams, that's my role as a superintendent or as a building leader. The same thought should be with yourself as principal or school leader, as well as what we want our teachers to do. So I always think about the difference between rules and roles. So success might be, we might have some rules that we need to put in place for AI use, such as it's going to be AI tools will be approved by the district, or that teachers will have to approve them for their certain classwork. We've done that already with websites and other things. That might be in there as a rule, or allow some freedom within a fence. But the role that we want students to be in, and again, success for learning in our schools, define the role we want students to be in. Is it highly engaged? Is it collaborative? Is it where they're learning to use tools to assess their own learning and report out? Those are some really powerful roles of a learner, and defining that in math, kindergarten, and third grade, and 12th grade, and in different classrooms is really a powerful piece. Sometimes people call it a portrait of a graduate, but just that understanding that learner profile that we want, and allowing AI tools to enhance it rather than to stop you from doing it. It's similar with the calculator and what we're at with math right now. When those were introduced, students are not going to learn to do certain things. But at the same time, if they're learning to problem solve and communicate and articulate their thinking, it might speed up the process. Next one is to think about this. I think success with AI should be defined by learning experiences that nurture a powerful learner, thus hitting on all four dimensions. And so what you think about is not just meta learning how to learn, but AI can help students do that with getting feedback and what to do next, or skills and creativity, character and ethics. This is going to be a big one with ethics and AI. And the last one, just getting their knowledge down pat. In terms of teachers, define the educator role. This is critical. This is really the heart of this section, because success with AI is not going to be about just being more efficient. It's about putting teachers in a position to be more effective. If it allows them to better meet the needs of students by understanding their needs, understanding their data, designing instruction, or even enhancing the learning experience, those are some powerful roles. I would suggest as leaders taking time to define these pieces with your teachers and really helping them understand how important it is to give direct feedback with students, how important it is to nurture a powerful learner. But defining that is a key role as a leader. I used to use this 1, 2, 3 model, and really I still use it today. When I walk into a classroom, I usually start to score things. I don't hold up a card out loud, but really in my head, I'm thinking to myself, if a student is just sitting and receiving something, usually it's a 0 mode. They're not too active. If they're in a spot where they're working on a problem, writing a paper, things like that, it's usually a 1. But when they really own the experience, it's a 2. And I think AI can really allow us to find some tools that shift the experience. They're not just getting the quick answer to get it right for a homework assignment. They're using AI to explore something, to start to ask questions, to start to research, to be able to find things, to gamify an experience, to create something. And then we get into that 2 moment. And that's where teachers can think about how to use AI to get their lessons beyond just students receiving information and sitting to being really active participants. Last but not least, I want to close with just getting started and getting better. I use this, just say what again, 3 times. What, what's working, what needs work, and what's our next work. AI is here, like the cell phone analogy, like the internet analogy, like anything else. It's going to be here for a while. So we just need to continue to find as a group and create a culture that you can constantly, as a community, talk about what's working, what needs work, and what's our next work. Simple plus delta framework like this allows people to talk about what's working in terms of AI, in terms of your rules, in terms of your structure, and what needs work, and what's your next work. And I guarantee if this becomes a part of your process as a leader, even monthly, you're going to start to see themes emerge of what's working, and that's a chance to celebrate success of the leaders in your building. If you continue to look at things of what needs work, you're going to get a chance to allow people to share their feedback in an appropriate way. I always think there's developmental feedback or judgmental. We want to teach the developmental feedback because that's going to help us get to the bottom line here is what's our next work, and defining what that might be. That might be parent education nights. That might be allowing students. That might be honing in on just a couple of tools as a department for AI. But as a leader, that's how we start to ensure success, not just when we get started with safety, but as we move forward over the next 5, 10, 15 years as having a great culture of continuous improvement to wrap this in. Again, we want to look at AI as being simple enough to get started. Let's find a couple of steps for everybody. But in our work, make it systemic, so simple but systemic, so that over the long run, it gets better over time, and it really hits the effectiveness piece that we want as a school district. Again, last but not least, everything that we do when you define what's our next work, think about the benefits and barriers. There's always barriers to the work that we're going to do, and fear, apprehension. But we're defining the benefits in terms of for learners, for teachers, and for your school system. Usually when it's strong enough to define the benefits out loud, everybody finds a way to get past the barriers. Thanks for joining me here today on this session 3 of our AI for Leaders Toolkit. Look forward to sharing section 4 next. Have a great day.